Hello, Internet. Long time no see. I was away for a couple of weekends and very busy with some work stuff. Um, but I'm glad to be back. I got a few fun things on my vacation travels. This is one of them. It's my new centerpiece for my table. I know it's about this big. I always have to show it by my head so people have a reference. A water jug, traditional Javanese water jug. Anywho, I'll talk more about my vacations and activities when I post some Facebook albums, and I'll send out an email update soon. Um, Here, I'd like to talk a little bit more generally about the um, conception and experience of foreignness, of being a foreigner. Um, as I approach my birthday, tomorrow's my birthday, um, and I had to um, run around like a chicken with my head cut off to try to find a Greek restaurant. I decided I was going to take my colleagues out to Greek food. Um, and then made all the plans, then called to make a reservation and realized that the one Greek restaurant I had found had been closed for 2 or 3 years. And, that was nowhere on the internet. Um, and then we had to find another place. We ended up finding a place that's Greek and local food. I have no idea if it'll be any good or not, but that's one interesting experience. Is that there's a ton of things you can't get different specific types of Western food. You can only get general Western food. Just like in the U.S., you can get Chinese food, but you can't really get it's almost impossible to get authentic Xi'an style food. Like you really have to go to Xi'an for that, or some other places in the Chinese diaspora in Asia. Um, and also that then a restaurant, a general restaurant that had been relatively in a major mall, you couldn't find any information on it more recent than the last couple of years. Nothing like Yelp or anything with a large reviewing population to say that those types of restaurants were closed. And it's just one small example of the types of little things that are really different when you live in a different place. Um, Catherine just posted an interesting blog about this as she's moving from being a foreigner in Singapore to being a foreigner in Australia. And I also read a really interesting post um, that Jessica Stratton had posted on moving away, on being an expat, being foreign. Um, and this article was saying the great part of moving to another place is that you can really be free to discover yourself, to change, even reinvent yourself. And also you have a great opportunity to kind of fight against the norms of your culture and see things in a way that you haven't been able to see them before, because um, you just never realized that it could be normal to buy one day's worth of groceries at a time at the little store, the little outdoor wet market that's near your house, because that was never an option that you ever saw. And if someone had brought it up to you, you might have responded to it as impractical, until you see a place where it works and it's the way everyone does it, and you realize it might be more practical, maybe a little more common sense than you originally thought. Um, so that's the great thing about being living abroad as an expat. Reinventing yourself. I've reinvented myself here as someone whose apartment is clean, which is not something I really ever was when I was in the States. I don't know how that works, but it works. The downside, though, is that once you have this new you, this new separate space, it doesn't mean that the old you, the let's say for me, the American or the native you, goes away. You change into a new person, but you can really only be the full person that you've changed into in that place where you did the changing. So the me that I created and encouraged and nurtured in Singapore, that person lives in Singapore. Um, and when I'm in Singapore, and when I was in Singapore, I always, no matter how happy I was when I was in Singapore, part of you misses and has a nostalgia for that American that American me. Oh yeah, and then we can then on the weekend we could go out in the spring weather. It won't be so sweaty, and we could get Chicago style hot dogs, and I could act this way, and I could go do this nerdy hipster thing with a million nerdy hipster friends, because that's who you find in Chicago. Harder to find in Singapore. But then in the U.S., then you're like, ugh, like I can't get any food like fresh juice, and I can't do this, and I didn't have my Asian friends to interact in a certain way that I'd gotten used to interacting. And now again here, very different. I have a way that I interact with my colleagues at the office. I have a way that I interact with my city here. I'm just developing it. But again, it's different. Do I miss and I miss things about the me in the US. I'm sure when I go back home, I'm going to miss things about the me here. So you create for yourself this dichotomy, trichotomy, however many places you live, where wherever you are, you're always kind of missing the you that you could be being in some other place. Um, you don't get extra free time. Uh, the sacrifice that you make when you move to another place and you develop this new sense and this new you is that all that time is not being spent continuing to develop within your culture and near your family and in maybe your original style of your country. So um, it makes being a foreigner exciting and stressful and interesting, and it wouldn't be the same experience any other way. Um, it's interesting to see how you're perceived. On the other hand, um, you know, it's easy to say this is my experience. This is how I think. This is how the city affects me. But Catherine's post was a bit more on how your country sees you as a foreigner. Are you really allowed to be an accepted part of the landscape? And if you are, as a Caucasian person in Asia, is it then only with a sort of vague deference and kind of this sense of like there's a sense of almost an inferiority complex that was created and I think is left over by a long history of colonialism. So then do people, accept you here only as kind of like some separate echelon of these people who live differently, but not real people, not people like us, not people who live on the ground. Um, that's always been a role I've been really uncomfortable with. Not to say there aren't nice things about, for instance, earning money in American dollars. I'm not going to say I'd rather earn in the local currency. Um, that would be a strange thing to wish for. But wishing that you could engage with people in a real and honest way without feeling like they were very concerned about if you were judging them or what you thought of them. Um, I had some issues with that in Singapore, and I have been happy to say that I haven't had as many issues or really any issues here. I have people here tell me that people here do have that sense, but so far I've found that everyone that I actually have a chance to engage with um, seems to treat me really just in a friendly and open manner, and not with any sort of strange deference, or at least nothing that makes me feel uncomfortable. I'd like to think that I also try my hardest to discourage that and encourage people to feel like um, I am a person and they are a person. Uh, I don't know if I'm successful at that. I would have to ask my colleagues, and I might not be able to trust their answer because, again, if they say, no, you're doing a great job, then how do I know if they're not just telling me what I want to hear? And again, feeding into that whole sense of um, not necessarily having a chance to break through into that honest, person to person, we're all here on the same level kind of atmosphere. I really hope that if I'm not there yet, that I get there. Um, it's really important to me. And if anyone in this country is watching, please let me know if there's anything I could do better or different to um, be able to achieve a more authentic experience and vision of this country that I'm living in. Um, the last thing I want to do is treat a country kind of like a playground, which I have seen some people do, especially if they're somewhere for a short period of time, um, or maybe if they work really hard and they have very little time for or mental energy for cultural absorption. Um, but you don't want to walk into someone's country and treat it like it's something temporary or something fake. Maybe it feels temporary or fake to an expat coming in, um, but it's not. It's a real place with real people, and I'm always really conscious of that, or try to be, and that's really the only real way to experience a place fully, I think, is to try and be open to letting it show you not only the things that you expect or the things that are easy or the things that you want to see, but um, the full range of experiences. There's always going to be some things that are not available um, to an outsider just because of language or because of just general location or time frames, monetary levels. I'm never going to have the experience that the lowest 25% of income people here have, just because I'm not in that income bracket. And so I'm not trying to say that I think that I could become this fully integrated person here who has a 100% accurate view of what it's like to be an Indonesian living in Jakarta, but hopefully um, I can get as accurate of a view as possible. Um, and my colleagues, my local colleagues, definitely help me with that, I think, and I hope I can recruit them to help me even a bit further as I continue on here. So let me know if you have any thoughts about foreignness, being foreign, um, trying to be more or less foreign, if that's a good or bad thing. Um, the the legacy of colonialism in Asia, or I don't know, Jogjakarta and water pictures, anything really that you're interested in. Let me know, and I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope I'll see you again soon.